Love me, love me. That's what Mandroid says, but he's not our focus. No, this gorgeous owl is our focus. Transformers Earthspark Nightshade in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one hail, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe. And while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. And I'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that conveniently in the description for you down below. Also, in the description down below, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course, hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. I'm going to just say this now. I'm going to elaborate in the actual review. If you don't like this character because you don't support representation in media, then you should really click away now, because I'm not interested in having you here, because your opinion is very misguided and holds zero weight. If you say something, I'm only going to delete it and block you anyway. So you might as well just save yourself the hassle. I adore this. Is it perfect? No. Do I love the character? Do I love seeing something new, something different, and some representation? Absolutely. Now, while I was hyped for this, how much does it live up to the hype? Well, we're about to find out, you and me together, when we head over to the table and take a closer look at them. From the moment that I laid my eyes on Terran Nightshade, I was smitten. I thought that this Transformer looked absolutely gorgeous. I love the character on the show, which we'll get into a little bit later. Though this has been, perhaps, the single most controversial character in all of Transformers, and you know what? Anybody who has a connection to both reality and history, and knows a little bit about what went into the development of this particular character, will probably realize that, yeah, it's actually not even slightly controversial. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Before we get into looking at Nightshade, and the rest of the Terrans for that matter, we have to look at the packaging first. And here we have the deluxe packaging for Nightshade. Nightshade looking very Nightshady on the front here. Of course, we have the Mandroid main body piece. Here's the Mandroid main body piece with the arm holes and the head hole and the leg ball joints. I'm not in for all of the, by the way, no waist, just so you're aware. This torso has no waist. I'm not in for all of the Mandroid parts because I'm not getting all of the, I'm not getting all of the line. Like, I don't want Bumblebee or Optimus or Shockwave or Grimlock, right? However, I do have the head and the backpack, so I'm probably going to put the head on it and put the backpack on the back and make Mandroid like some sort of limbless, monstrous dude or something. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not really planning on showing this anymore. It's just a Mandroid torso. So I'm going to lay that aside. He also comes with a really great set of instructions that do a nice job of showing a lot of things. Now, the one thing that they show that makes it seem like it's easy, and it's not, it's actually brutally hard to do, is putting the wings on, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Don't kid yourself. They make it look real easy here. It is a nuisance, and it's enough that I actually had to cut some of the peg off. I'll talk about it in a moment. But while you're supposed to, it's not designed this way, but while you can remove the wings, I wouldn't advise it. Once they're on, I would leave them. And here we have Nightshade next to the rest of the Terrans that we currently have, that being Warrior Class Jawbreaker, who I just looked at in the last review, whom I love, honestly. I don't know what I'll think of a deluxe when and if that time comes, but you never know. Then we have, on the other far end, we have Thrash. I looked at Thrash in episode 1099. He's also a Warrior Class and Twitch, arguably the leader of the group, whom I looked at in episode 1054, also a deluxe. We need a hashtag, or we need an hashtag, no, a hashtag. We need a version of hashtag, there you go, that fits in with these, that Tacticon garbage junk. Let's pretend that doesn't exist. I don't know why they made those. But yeah, a proper version of hashtag. Whether warrior or deluxe, I don't care, but let's round this team out. What I do love is that we have a team here, and their aesthetic, certainly with their face, with their rounded eyes and their shimmery metallic paint and somewhat spindly limbs, really has a look that tells you they're the same, like they're the same group. However, they're vastly different colorations, and the alt modes that range from an owl, actually I think it's called a stylized hawk owl, to a dinosaur, to a drone, to a motorcycle. It's all over the map, but somehow it works in some sort of an elegance. And I really like the look of this team. Love how they're shaping up. In for the Terrans. I like something new. Okay, so let's start here on the back for a moment, if we may. The way the wings are like a rubbery plastic, so is the back of the robot head, and so is part of the owl head. However, I only know that really because of reading it. It doesn't feel like it to me. I would not have noticed it otherwise. However, on the wings, I did realize there's something softer and more pliable here. It doesn't feel like the soft rubbery plastic we know. It feels solid. But the reason I realized it with the wings is because when you attach the wings, they're supposed to slide down over a peg, and then right here, there's a little peg on the wing that goes into a small peg hole. They kind of work against each other. So what I did to put them on is I put the peg down over the top first. And after I did that, I went to snap, as the instructions say, this smaller peg into this peg hole. Did not fit on either side at all. Impossible. Was not going to go in. So I actually had to take a little crafting knife and shave off some of the peg on both wings. So they slide down over the top fine, but I had to shave off both the tiny peg and the tiny peg here on the wing to get them to squeeze in there. No, they never, ever, ever snapped, and it took a lot of elbow grease to squeeze them in. My fear would be if I tried to take them off, that I would break that peg. So I'm never, ever going to take the wings off. You might, but my advice is leave them on. They're no hindrance. They don't cause anything. They're very, very movable. The way the hinges are, like Siege Seeker wings movable, like all over the place. They don't get in the way at all. But worth noting that they're a bit of a chore and a bear to put on. Turning them around, we have Nightshade. And I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit so we can see head to toe. So Nightshade is an interesting character. Part of the thematic background, I guess, for Earthspark is that we have essentially an entirely new species, right? The Terrans were not made on Cybertron. They were not given life, presumably by Primus on Cybertron in the Well of Allsparks. They were instead created on Earth somehow, some way, via Quintus's Emberstone. We do not know all of this development yet, or why the Emberstone was able to do this, or how or if the Terrans somehow relate to the Quintessons, which were also created by Quintus. There's a lot of unanswered questions, which is great because we can explore that more in Season 2. But the original idea behind Nightshade was that Nightshade was going to determine that gender has no relation to my identity. I'm a robot. I don't have a gender. Neither do you, because you're a robot. And there's a logic to that, right? We talk about the fembots, and we talk about, you know, how all of the guys, even going back to G1, all of that team was all male. All of the Decepticon team was all male, and the fembots, they thought they were extinct. Gender doesn't matter. They're robots, right? It's just the way that they're constructed and built and envisioned by, I guess, Primus and the Well of Allsparks determined how they look. Now, I mean, I know in the comic books, like I know that Shockwave done a whole bunch of experimentation with like gender bending and stuff, and that's how RC came about, blah, blah, blah. I get all of that. But in reality, and a lot of fans have said it over the years, they're robots. In essence, they don't have a gender. And Nightshade was intended to be the first character openly that would say, I'm a robot. This has nothing to do with me or you or anything. And the alt mode was supposed to be gargoyle. Because a gargoyle could be anything, right? Well, apparently that altered a little bit and they decided that, you know what? Within Transformers, corporate now, decided that within Transformers we have male representation, female representation, but all of those people that for years and years were just called freaks and weirdos, and then there was the era where they didn't identify as male or female and called themselves aliens. We now live in an age and a time and a world where we realize there's a better way to address these people. We can use pronouns that fit them better and make them feel more included in the world, in the community, and in the fiction we know and love. So instead of just saying gender is useless to robots, they instead decided to say that Nightshade is going to be non-binary, neither gender. It's the same idea, but approached in such a way that it really opens up representation for an entirely new, well, I can't say new section of the audience, they've always been there, but an entirely new group that has probably clamored and hungered for representation in fiction for a long time, right? We talk about all the time for different groups. This is just another evolution of representation. I think it's a beautiful thing. If you don't, I invite you to go away because you don't have any business being here. Then we get to the look. The look here is pretty good, gorgeous. I love this metallic green. This metallic green is really the highlight here. I'm going to say though that the look overall is about an 8. It's not perfect. Here's why. The Takara one is actually going to be a little bit different and arguably a little more show accurate. Using the show model, starting from the bottom going up, the feet should be green. The little section in here that's black should also be green. The lower leg green. The knee should probably be a silvery color. The entire upper thigh, where we have this metallic green on the outside of the gray thigh, the whole thigh should be green. The pelvis that's gray should be green, with a lighter green highlight on the very lower tummy just above the pelvis. The part of the tummy just below the owl head, which is the chest really, that should be gray. There's green highlights here on the side, that they're fine. The chest should be green, the head should be green, though on the chin we should have a little green detail. The eyes are the right shade. The wings aren't there in the animation, so that's why I said you can take them off for an animation model look. The entire shoulder, while we have the metallic green on the shoulder here going around, the entire shoulder should be green, the bicep gray, and the forearm here should all be green. We shouldn't have this yellowy detail on the outside or the black, though I love it. It should all be green with a silver detail and silver hands or gray hands. So about an 8. The Takara one that's going to be coming has a little bit of a different deco, and you might prefer the Takara one. I think the paint on the wings and stuff, instead of being this brilliant metallic, I think is more of a matte color. The Takara one does have the little green on the chin of the robot mode head, though the robot mode head here has a silver paint scheme. On the Takara one it's just white. It looks a little more bland. The black crest is still there, like all the torso is the same. Where we have the green molded detail on the side of the ribs here, we'll say the rib cage is gray on the Takara. When we get down right here around the bottom, just below the owl head, we do have, on the Takara, we do have that other green highlight and a little bit of detailing that we don't have here. The entire thigh of the Takara is this metallic green. Instead of it just being a paint app, the whole thigh is that metallic green. And besides that, the rest is pretty good going down to the foot. When we get to the foot, their foot is green with way in here being a gray. So a little bit different. I like it. I like this. I think that the look of the Takara would probably be... I think the look of the Takara would probably be a 9.5. I think the look here is about an 8, right? Maybe an 8.5, because you definitely know it's Nightshade. The articulation, actually really good. We have a head that goes left, right, can look up a little bit, down. The wings here can go out flat. They can go up like this. They can, turn all the way this way. They can go back like this. So there's lots of things you can do with the wings. I'll also note, and I didn't note it, these can come out from up here and become like little swords or little daggers or something for his hand, I think, or their hand, I should say. my mistake. But again, I'm glad that there's storage for it, and it's very out of the way storage. There is no waist because of transformation, which is a bummer, I'll admit that. The arms go all the way out to the side, bicep swivel, 90 degree at the elbow, nothing at the wrist, and I really thought there was going to be. So I'm a bit disappointed by that. The leg goes forward, the leg goes back, thigh, well, not really thigh swivel, a knee rotation, I guess. I mean, super duper deep knee bend. Heel and toe can bend forward and back, and we have an ankle tilt. You gotta remember though, that these deluxes, at least here in Canada, are cheaper than like legacy deluxes and whatnot, by about $6 or $7. I think these are like $29 here compared to the like $36 of regular deluxes. So, you know, you're charging me less. I don't have a wrist, I don't have a waist. That's a bummer, but you're charging me less. I'm kind of okay with it. I do wish we had it. I'm going to say though that I can still get great balance, great poses. They can pull a ton of excellent looks off. So I'm going to say that the articulation is again about an 8, right? 8, 8.5. That's kind of where we're hovering. We're going to do the transformation next. And to do the transformation, we're going to begin with the owl head, I do believe. And we're going to bring that down and bring the owl head up. Again, we have that beautiful green down here. I think the owl head looks nicer with that green on this one than the Takara, but that's just me. Then we're going to start to bring this arm forward and this arm forward. Bring down the talons, I suppose, we'll say. The wings, we're just going to angle them kind of up like that for now. When these come forward, it's a bit of a balancing act because the shoulders come together, but they don't really go anywhere. So it's a balancing act to sort of have them in front. We can line these up, and you can see that the two arms here do go together. That may come apart again as we deal with the legs. Okay, so now to do the legs. When we do this, you know what, I'm just going to do it and then we'll talk about it. We turn the leg out, we turn the leg out. It's hollow back here, but it's because the whole thigh goes in. When we fold this up, there's going to be a little peg back here that will eventually go in up right here. So we fold this up and we fold this up. At this point, there's not a lot we can do because we need to, and this is why we don't have a waist, by the way, we need to fold the waist back. When we fold the waist back, now we can start to bring these legs all the way together and up over. When they come up over, and I'm going to get the wings out of the way, when they come up over, like I said, we have little pegs here basically on the knee, and they go into peg holes here. They're rectangular, I do believe, but a little bit of a nuisance to get in. You got to angle them just right, and it's a little hard to do here on camera. There, got those in like that. I'm going to make sure that they're in, and then we're going to kind of finish off down. Actually, you know what? I'm going to finish off down here, and then I'm going to make sure they're in, because I think this one's not. There. Okay. Once they're in, then you come down to the hands, and on the black that's on the front of the forearm, we have a little divot, basically a little notch, and it goes over. You might see a gray knot, a gray peg in right here that's kind of on the side of the foot. We just take the little black piece and put it over there, and we take the little hole that's on the black piece of the forearm and we put it in there, and boom, in the end, in essence, I'm going to even angle out those feet a little bit. In essence, here we have Nightshade in their owl mode. I'm just going to solidify everything, and then we'll look at Nightshade next to the rest of our Terrans in their alt modes. And man, does this quartet look good. I love it. I feel like Twitch and Jawbreaker really fit together with their orangey motifs, but I feel like the grays and greens of Thrash and Nightshade really stick together too. I really want a hashtag now more than ever to kind of round out this quartet into a quintet, and hopefully we get one sooner rather than later. I'm digging the Terrans because there's something new, there's something fresh, and I like that while they are all like kind of one team, one unit so to speak, they are wildly different from each other. even though all these are generally the same-ish size, I mean, some are taller and skinnier, some are shorter and stockier. They're alt modes. It's not like they're all stunticons and all stunt vehicles. They're all aerial bots and all airplanes. They're all kinds of different things, from a drone to a dinosaur to an owl to a motorcycle, that matches them and their personality. I'm a big fan of representation of all sorts. Everybody wants to see themselves in fiction. We all just want to feel like we're part of something somewhere. Nobody wants to feel like the odd man out, so to speak. And I feel like the introduction of these characters give a lot of people that probably haven't seen, that are, you know, fans of Transformers and probably haven't seen a character that they can relate to themselves. Maybe now with the Terrans, maybe they're finding some characters that they themselves can relate to, and I think that's a beautiful thing. These four look great, even though 2 are deluxes and 2 are warriors. Can't wait for a proper, not that Tacticon junk, a proper hashtag. Give it to me, because I can guarantee you hashtag would be a wonderful addition to this lineup. And while we were at about an 8 and an 8.5, I think the transformation's a 10. I love it. I love it. The arms move forward, the legs, you gotta do a whole bunch of moving around, the way the waist flips back and gives us this very condensed, compact owl mode. I said 10. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna say a 9.75. So overall, I'm gonna say that Nightshade is a solid 8.5, 9. Really, really good Transformer. The head goes left and right. It's too bad that the head can't go back, but it's an owl, and an owl's eyes doesn't move. So while the head can't go back, I mean, an owl can turn its head pretty much all the way around. So this is actually pretty accurate to how an owl's head actually moves. The wings, I mean, the owl could fly this way, or you can angle the wings up. But here's my favorite. If you just want the owl sitting down, you can angle the wings down. Beautiful. Beautiful. Same with the talon legs here. You can bring them all the way forward. They can go all the way back if you want like a complete stand-up mode. Now it's not quite standing because of the tail feathers here. But again, I guess you could deal with those or bring the... There you go. There you go. That's what you want to do. Bring those wings down, right? Really, really excellent. Going to get looked over because of the foolish, foolish controversy. That really isn't a controversy. It's only a controversy to, I'm just going to say, it's only a controversy to morons. It's an excellent Transformer that's well worth the get. I am loving the Terrans. Come on, hashtag. And here we are once again, and here they are as well. So, first things first, the idea behind this character was actually very logical. Originally, being a robot that just saw no point in gender. That's a human thing. That's a flesh bag thing. It's not a robot thing. I am very curious to know what sort of a gargoyle this could have been, had that been the alt mode. But we've had things gargoyle-esque before. Owls, we haven't had very many at all. Pretty rare alt mode, so I love it. Even though, to be fair, some call this a gargoyle owl. A hawk owl. There's a lot to it, right? I love seeing more representation. I mean, think back over the annals of history. The first time that you saw women featured prominently as strong lead characters in some sort of a series, right? Going all the way back to Lucy being a lead star in like the 50s. Up to the civil rights movements, and you started to see more representation of Asian and African American characters within fiction, and within even something like wrestling. You know, as you have more people from more diverse backgrounds that win championships and whatnot. You have seen the evolution of you know, women getting to a point of being considered, you know, equals to men, as it should be, to be perfectly honest with you, because that shows societal growth and advancement. In this case, it's about time that if you're going to default Transformers to, you know, males and females, if you're going to say there's man bots and fem bots, then you know what? There should be non-binary bots as well, because that representation completely taps into really a largely untapped market. Everyone, me, you, everyone around the sun likes to see themselves represented in fiction, likes to be able to relate and say, you know what, that's just like me, or that's just like my friend, or my cousin, or my mom, or my dad, or my brother, or sister, or whoever. Everyone wants to be able to see themselves in the world. And that's what fiction gives us, a chance to see ourselves. I hope that this absolutely beautiful Transformer, and it is a beautiful Transformer, with a lovely color scheme. I'd love to see more owls, I'm not going to lie. I hope that this beautiful Transformer brings in not only more fans, but has more fans feel like they're finally being seen too. Being seen is a beautiful thing for me, for you, for everyone, for the world. We need more of that. Nightshade isn't perfect. In terms of the putting the wings on, that's a nuisance. I do wish we had a couple of slight improvements to certain articulation bits, like the waist, for example. But you know what? Considering this is cheaper than like a Legacy Deluxe or a Studio Series Deluxe, I'm okay with the fact that it's not perfect, because what we do have is tremendous. Let me know what you think about Nightshade. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. Or of course, you can hit the join button at any given time. You can also, please, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. But through it all, and I say this every time, but I feel like it's really hitting home today, don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, whether you realize it or not, whether you feel seen or not, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.